Okay, my friends, as I always promised, a shocker du jour or your money back. Now, shocker du jour, what is that? Well, volcanoes have been ruled out. There's fresh evidence uncovers for what ended the dinosaur era. What's the fresh evidence? There's so many theories about what happened to the dinosaurs, and I'm going to tell you something. The dinosaurs are inconsequential to this whole thing. They are literally scraps. Now, let's take a look. Okay, my friends, get ready. Shocker du jour off the charts. Quetzalcoatl runs all the way up the East Coast. He is the feathered serpent right there. That's his head. That's his neck. His body runs all the way up the East Coast. His beards are here, and his headdress is all up in here. I will show you this in extreme details in a ramble after we see what it has to say in the ancient texts about Quetzalcoatl. This is what they call the Chicxulub crater. We're supposed to have wiped out all the dinosaurs, yada, yada, yada. There's all new discussion about this now. It just came out today. And I have plenty to say about it, so I'm going to say it. All right, so let's get ready to find out what they had to say in the ancient text. This thing is eating somebody. Now, I'm telling you right now, if you can show me that I'm wrong, I'd like to know why. This right here is exactly what you just saw. There's his beards, there's his head, which is a different type of material than the runoff, which is the bloody stuff, turns red. Feathers are always, it turns green because it's loaded with red blood. Anytime red blood runs off, it turns green. Anytime you have feathers, they turn extremely green. This is the shape of his head because it's a different material. Now up here, it runs all the way up the East Coast, and right up here, you can still see his feathers. Now, I'm going to go into a big, long ramble after I tell you what Quetzalcoatl was in history. Very, very important creature in the history of Mesoamerica. Extremely important. These are his feathers, and that's why they're the Green Mountains. Feather meal, they sell ground up feathers to make things grow green. And there's his head, and he's spitting something out that makes things grow, that makes things very noxious in this area. Now, they say it's runoff from farming. Let's discuss the whole thing after we find out who was Quetzalcoatl. All right, let's go and see what they say about Quetzalcoatl. Let's get the details of what history said about him. Okay, so what does ChatGPT have to say about Quetzalcoatl and its history? So I said, what is the background history of Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent? It seems you're asking about Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent, a prominent deity in Mesoamerican cultures. Here's an overview of the background historical significance of Quetzalcoatl. Name and representation. Quetzalcoatl is in Aztec language. Name combines two words, Quetzal referring to a beautiful feathered bird, and Coatl meaning serpent. So it's the feathered serpent. He's depicted as a serpent adorned with feathers or wings, symbolized by the connection between earth and the heavens. The serpent and the bird, earth and the heavens, could be. Origin in Mesoamerican cultures. Quetzalcoatl was not unique to the Aztecs. He was a key figure in several of these cultures in this area, the Mesoamerican area, with each culture adding its own interpretations and characteristics. Now that's going to be important to start thinking about, because was he working for one set of them against the others? Was he equally taking care of everybody? Was he against everybody? Well, was he just against the giants? Let's look into this. So now, they all had a different idea about him, but he's the same guy. That's just the way it is now today about everything. Now, Toltecs. The earliest significant association with Quetzalcoatl comes from the Toltec civilization. That was 900 to 1168 in this common era. All right, this isn't BC, this is this time. That's only 1,300 years ago. In Toltec religion, Quetzalcoatl was regarded as a creator god and cultural hero. Okay, so he was a good guy. And that's in the Toltecs. He was a good guy. Now, the Teotihuacan in the city of Teotihuacan. Now, this goes back to BC, 100 BC to 750 CE. A god related to the feathered serpent was prominent. Though scholars, here we go again, scholars debate whether this figure was exactly Quetzalcoatl or a similar deity with similar symbolisms. Well, Quetzalcoatl, I think, was the guy. He's pretty big. Now, the Aztecs, they flourished from 14th century in the common era now to early 16th century. The culture most associated with Quetzalcoatl. That's only a few hundred years ago. That's not long ago at all. In their mythology, Quetzalcoatl was considered one of the Olympian gods, just like the Titans. It was often referred to as the god of wind, rain, learning, and life itself. Wow. The role in Aztec mythology. In Aztec culture, Quetzalcoatl was part of a complex pantheon. They had all kinds of them, I guess. Some of his roles included creator deity. He was thought to have played a role in the creation of humanity. One popular myth has him descending to the underworld to gather the bones of the ancient ancestors from which he and his brother, Quetzalcoatl, another important Aztec god, created the first humans. Yikes! He was the god of wind and rain, associated with natural elements of wind and rain essential for agriculture, especially growing maize and corn, which was a staple crop of the Mesoamerican civilizations. I show his body laying there is actually changes the weather patterns. I'm not kidding you. I'll show it to you. The weather patterns are sitting right on top of his body, and that's where Tornado Alley is, because of his body. Now, the myth of Quetzalcoatl's departure, the myth, now, let's see. One of the most famous legends about Quetzalcoatl involves his departure, according to Aztec mythology. They call this a myth. Okay, a little interruption there, but back at it here. So, this is the myth about Quetzalcoatl's departure. They call it a myth. Now, here's what they're saying. This is one of the most famous legends. According to the Aztecs, Quetzalcoatl was said to have been overthrown, or he was tricked, by his brother, the god Quetzalcoatl. And in despair, he left the Aztec capital of Tenochtitlan and journeyed to the east. Before leaving, he promised he would one day return. Well, let's see, that could very well be. This myth took on political significance in the years leading up to the arrival of Hernan Cortes in 1519. That's because they thought he was Quetzalcoatl. The Aztecs, having heard of the returning god through their own prophecies, believed the Spanish conquistadors were potentially the returning Quetzalcoatl, though this belief is likely an oversimplification or even a misunderstanding by later interpreters. Who knows? Symbolism and influence. Okay, so in other words, they welcomed them in as possible gods. They showed up with all these fancy things and big ships and all, that looked pretty impressive, I would imagine. And Quetzalcoatl, as far as they know, Quetzalcoatl had to go way back, as far as I'm concerned. This is a whole big mystery now. It's just a gigantic mystery that I want to solve it. Now, the feathered serpent, symbol of his enduring significance reflected the unity between spiritual and earthly realms. And there is definitely some kind of spiritual thing going on. And we're here, as far as I'm concerned, this is the earthly realm. And there's a duality of life and death. They're both the same. They're both the same. When you're dead, you're not dead. When you're alive, you're not alive. You're just in transition of in my feeling, a quest for knowledge, for quest to rise above what you're being told. Whenever you just repeat what you're being told, you're a drone. You have no ability of your own, and that's what is being done now to society. Is you repeat what I tell you, or we'll just shut you up, and we'll tell everybody you're stupid. And we'll ruin your life if you're a student. So you say what we tell you to say, or we keep your money and we tell everybody you failed. That's what's going on now. I know I always keep going back to that, but it looks to me like it is all written about there will be false teachers, and their destruction does not sleep. Anyway, there is a duality of life and death, and that's what the academics do. I'll talk about that nonsense. And I was there too. Here's the problem. I was a god. I don't really remember, to be honest with you, whether I thought there was a god or not. It wasn't inconsequential to me. What am I going to do about it? So what if there's a god? What am I going to do? I can't go shake his hand, ask him questions. Anybody else can do it? I'd like to see it. That's how I felt, like. And then Jesus walking on water and feeding people with no fish, and doing all these crazy things, raising people from the dead. I thought that was just insanity. I laughed at those people. I said, how could anybody be so stupid? But I realized I was one who was being stupid, and nobody in their right mind would consider the things I have shown unless the evidence was so overwhelming, which it is. So it's time, if you want reality and a duality of life and death, you're going to have to learn. We're here as a test. Trust me, I'm going to tell you right now, this is a test. And the things that I have shown you are for you to see, and then to show others for their test. This is a test. And all I can say is I have been guided to do this. I don't know why. I'm nothing special. I was one of the worst human beings ever lived, probably, until I realized this. And now I don't want to get in trouble. And, I realize, and they say they give you an extra chance. That's what this whole sin deal is about. And that's the best way to handle things. Just think, if today we said to everybody, look, just forget everything and treat everybody that you meet as a friend, as a good friend, as somebody you want to help if they have trouble, the world would be a living heaven overnight. The resources spent on destruction and hate would be able to feed the world and solve the problems, but I think it's past that stage. I do. I'm sorry. Things change, and at a certain point, they're unchangeable. Is that the point? It's still a chance for you to turn your life around and say, whoa, let's take another look at this. If you do reject it, then that's up to you. But woe unto you, my friend. All right, let's just continue. This gets serious. I don't mean to preach. That's not my way. But I've been given this mission to show these things, and this is my job. These things are for you to see and for others as a test. That was my message. I'm going to just tell you right now what happened to me, and I know I've said it before, but if you haven't, this is new to you. I got up one morning about 10 or 12 or somewhere around there, 2012, let's say. And I said to my wife, I said, geez, I feel like there's something in the woods calling my name. I don't know what to think. I'm going to go out and look around. So I did. And I looked around, and I found a couple things, and nah, I wasn't sure. So I kept looking, and all of a sudden I found these giant human body parts, and there was just no question about it. They were, well, like this. This is a human lung. I'm into all this biology stuff. I'm pretty deep into this stuff. And so I knew this wasn't a lung when I found it. And this was the pleura on the lung, and it's flat as a pancake. And everything I found was flat on one side. And it seemed to be the fascia that coated it, which is this pleura on a lung, but normally it's fascia or it's skin. And that's how I discovered mud fossils. And then I had them DNA tested and CAT scanned. All that stuff was done. So I started searching around for the things that supported these giants and creatures, and then it just everything fell on my lap. Now, the message was, go look in the woods. I did. I found the giants. I started looking, searching about giants and so forth, and it popped up, these things are for you to see and for others as a test. And I was shocked. And that message went away, and I could never find where it came from. So that shocked the hell out of me. But it did say to me, these things are for you to see and for others as a test. And what is it? I could just disregard that and say, oh, yeah. Well, if I am getting a message to go look in the woods and I find giants, and then I come back and it says, you got to go give this test. Well, I'm going to give the test. So I start giving a test, and boy, I'm telling you, whew, it was just exactly what they had written in these ancient texts. They'll see, but they'll never see. They'll hear, but they'll never hear. They'll despise you for truth. They will turn against you. They'll all kinds of, even your family and everything, they will treat you like an idiot for coming up with the truth. And these are the slings and arrows you will suffer. Knowledge is, wisdom is not good. Well, it's painful. To a degree, you got to deal with it. You got to deal with it. This life is for learning. This is a test. This is a test to handle everything that comes against you, or you can see. And then you're going to advance. I'm telling you right now, it's life and death duality. You either you learn and move up, or you don't learn, and I think you're going to move down. I don't know how many chances you get at this, but I'm taking this one to understand. I'm going to say, I got one life, and I want to live it right. At this point, before I want to just live and have a great time. It was all about me. Well, now, it's still quite a bit about me, but it's about everybody. If you want to have it, it's okay to have it be about you to a degree, but if it's all about you, that's not good. That's a problem. And if you take advantage of other people and use them for things that you shouldn't do, and people inherently know what's good and bad. You don't have to write books about it. You just say, you did that, that's bad, this is bad. You, in your body, you know what's good and bad. And if the whole society was brought up with the understanding of what is good and bad, I think we would be a race of creatures that could actually have a brotherhood of man, an actual, happiness between people and species and nations and races and ethnicity and beliefs, and who cares about all that stuff really? There are some people that this becomes really difficult. I don't want to talk about that anymore. Now, this was in cultural, he extended far beyond Aztec Empire. Later periods, the feathered serpent was adopted by various groups in Central America. Now, he was the god, though. He was the creator god, so that's got to go way back. Now, here we go, European influence and misunderstandings. When the Spanish arrived in the early 16th century, Quetzalcoatl became a figure of intense curiosity and source of misunderstanding. Who says? The story of Quetzalcoatl's return, combined with the fact that Cortez and his men arrived by sea from the east, led some Aztecs to see the conquistadors as possible manifestations of the returning god. This idea has been debated, with some historians suggesting it played a role in the Aztec leader Montezuma's initial hesitation and complex interactions with the Spanish. Now, Quetzalcoatl in modern times. Cultural symbol. Quetzalcoatl continues to be a powerful cultural religious symbol in modern Mexico, Central America, often invoked in discussions of national identity and indigenous heritage. And it should be, because it's there. It's there. You cannot deny this as far as I'm concerned. You have to... Popular culture. Feather Serpent has appeared in various forms of modern media, from literature to video games, often representing themes of spiritual wisdom and ancient wisdom and enlightenment or lost civilization. Summary. Quetzalcoatl is one of the most important complex deities in Mesoamerican culture as the feathered serpent. He symbolized the union of heaven and earth, and his roles in mythology ranged from creator god to deity of wind, rain, knowledge, and culture. While his story evolved across different Mesoamerican cultures, he remains a central figure in both the ancient and modern consciousness of the region. And he was an actual creature that is now the east coast of the United States. Okay, my friends, everybody knows what feathers look like, most people. And I would say that's a feather. Now let's come down and take a look at it closer here. I don't think anybody dug these in that particular manner like that, with these ribs and so forth in it. And you can see an enormous amount of green foliage surrounding this, because feathers produce a lot of green. And this is not just one, they're all over the place up here, because this is parts of Quetzalcoatl's, the back of his head, right up in here. Well, the top of his head. Now, this is Quetzalcoatl. You have to take your time and look at it, and don't let your mind go crazy, because it's crazy. I'm not saying it's not crazy. Everything I say is crazy, but it's true. So where does that leave you? Either your mind just goes blank, or you start to think. If you think, and then you disregard what you see, and you say, that's not right, Roger, because these are just rivers. I said, well, they are now. I can't disagree with that. But at one time, they were not rivers. They were the beard of Quetzalcoatl. And now there's lakes, rivers, whatever you want to call them. But you're going to see some chemistry in here that will, colors indicate certain toxicities in chemistry. And this, I don't know if this is toxic or not, this stuff. But I'm going to tell you what, it's coming from his beard. I don't know. People living here healthy, they maybe not. I have no idea. But that's one of the beards, and here's the other ones. And they all look good. They just drop right off there. I never noticed that. Well, they must have them. Yeah, they got a dam there. I wonder what's in that water. I mean, it's just a question. I'm not saying anything bad, anything good. It's just a question. Is there any kind of health situation going on in this particular area? Who knows? I don't know. But this is Quetzalcoatl, and they do have a lot of chemistry. There's a lot of chemistry going on. Now, coming up the top of his head is the feathers. I think I showed you some feathers already, but they're huge. They come up here huge. This is, here's a couple of them right here. Just let's take a look at these. That's the ribs in the center of the feathers. And these are little, I don't know, they call them barbules or something like that. But this ridge is just nothing more than this ridge right here. Or it could even be down inside here. I don't know. Well, if we look at it from afar, I believe it is this. That's one here, this one here, that's one there. That's all I can take away from that. You see the whole ridge going down here? And the little fluty things going out the side. I would say that's this. And these are the little fluties going down the side. It's just laying flat. It could even be smaller than that. I don't know. But they are definitely feathers, and they are definitely sticking off the top of his head. And it's coming right out of Little Rock right here. Now, I don't think this measures up to this. This is Quetzalcoatl. He was spoken of in the ancient texts. Now we're going to go look at what ChatGPT says about the history of Quetzalcoatl and what was written in the past. I can show you the glyphs they left. There he is. There's his beards. Now they show a little beard at the front here. Maybe we can find that. I haven't really looked for that close. Hold on. Let's look. They have them in the back here. It shows one way up in the front, but it's kind of little. I don't see it, do you? There's the ones in the back. That could be it right here. You know, that could be it right there. It was kind of little. That could be it. I don't see any more of those. That could be it right there. There's some kind of a secretion going on in this area. You see, I always talk about the colors. Look for the colors. All right, so I'm going to go with that's his front beard. All right, so what do we got? We got a tiny little beard here, and we got two good size here. Is that what we see? That's what I see. Maybe that's not two, one. I don't know. Maybe that's they just didn't have it right. But he's laying there. Let's just put it that way. And his headdress goes up. His tail goes up. It's the feathered green mountains, or the green feathered mountains. Let's go with that. The green feathered mountains. From now on, that will be its name. Okay, my friends. It's a brand new world. 100% brand new. This is Quetzalcoatl. I don't see how anybody can dismiss this. Now, he was eating giants. Look at the size of this thing. I have no explanation for these things. I am just presenting evidence. Now, I'm going to get back into Scorpzilla because I forgot. I didn't finish up yesterday. The people that have been here yesterday, and I'm getting a lot of them. They're starting to get interested in reality. And Scorpzilla runs the entire west coast. There's his head. He runs all the way up. There's his shoulders, all the way up. There's his tail and his, I don't know. People say pincher, stinger. I don't know. What's the difference? This is it's squirted out this stuff as far as I'm concerned. You see that? Stinger, injector, I don't know. I believe that squirted that out when it died. And this retracts. You see this wrinkled zone here? It would have pinched into something that would have been in here. But it would have started way back here. You see, this pincher would have been, or stinger or whatever, would have been just sort of laying around out here. And something would get in here and it could, I don't know if this is articulating or not. Could it come together, or would this just jab like this? I think this would just jab into whatever happened to be in this area, and then it would squirt something out of it. Is that a stinger? Is that a pincher? I don't know. Call it whatever you want. Now, a lot of people say it's too skinny. It's a little skinny thing. No, it isn't. It goes way out to here, way out to the edge, and I mean way up. If you started from here, you're at minus 246 meters. You go over here, you're at minus 4,500 meters. All right, that's like miles over the edge of his body. So his body is way over here. This is really the outside edges of his body. Now, right up in here in Anchorage, I think Anchorage right over here. This is Mount Spur right here. And that it flows out from Mount Spur, this right here. Now, don't forget, we talk about colors and digestive systems and so forth. And now don't forget, this is way inside of Scorbzilla. This is the outside edge of him. And you see the layering on his body? Way up here is minus 117 meters. Down here is minus 4,800 meters. All right, so it went 4,500 plus meters between here and here. Straight down, that's the edge of his body. That's a pretty thick body laying there. Now, back up here is his digestive system and so forth, because you can see all the different colors. And that's where you would expect it to be. And Mount Spur is, the next video is going to be about that and about Scorbzilla, but they're all over the world. All over the globe, everywhere. Look at down here. Everybody asks about this one, the one down in Antarctic or wherever, past Argentina down in here. I believe that's a snake's head. I can't see any reason not to believe that. It sure looks like it. You know, look at the different... looks like it to me. I have a hard time following his body. Now, did his body come over this way? Where would it go? I don't see where it ends up going. It's almost like his head's just cut off here or something. I don't think it goes up the East Coast. I mean, the coast of South America, although it could. You know, that might very well be. It's kind of pinches back together. If you ignore this part. All right, yeah, well, maybe I'm seeing it now. I'm seeing it. I think I might be seeing it. You look at this side. It comes out to here. Look at this side. It comes out to here. Then you would expect it to come back in similar to the other side. Which, if it does, it would end up being here. And it does look like it could very well have been here, and this could very well have been his guts. And as it comes up here, yeah, I'm seeing it now. As it comes up here, it snakes all the way up. I don't know, it could snake all the way up to Scorbzilla. Maybe Scorbzilla was biting him. There's Scorbzilla. I think this, you know, if it was a skinny-ish snake, this here, I don't know. But that's a pretty sharp definition. Now let's go to the altitudes. All right, this is minus 3450. This is minus 1129. So that's a pretty thick body from here to here. From here, let's go in here, down here. What can we see? Maybe we can actually see some scales. Wow. That's not your average floor. I would say that's some kind of blood vessels or something. Let's follow down. If this is his body, and it could very well be. Look at this line coming down here. You see it? Could that have something to do with his throat? What's this stuff here? Well, let's look at the depth here. 3860. Up here is minus 158. The 3860 drops off 3,700 meters. That's huge. So his body comes over to here, I guess. Let's see what we got down here. We got 1217 meters. Let's see what we got up here. 1450 meters. So this it rounds up and comes back down again. All right, I'm going to go with this is the snake's body. I didn't realize it. I just lost track of it because it looks like it goes off this way. But when you follow the contour of what it should be, it makes sense. You see it? It makes sense. His body snakes off that way. So now it makes sense. People have been saying, "Oh, why don't you look at that?" I said, "Well, I can't find his body." And this looks like some kind of flexible back of his head is going to have to be sort of flexible. And I found these tendonish things run. Now, why it is one way over here, I don't know. Is that anything to do with it? I don't know. What's going on here? I don't know. There's a lot of I don't knows. What can I say? But I'm going right now. If people ask me, I would say that it is running all the way up the coast. And this is the guts in here somewhere. And if you transition it through, you could probably see a lot of abrupt transitions. And eventually, if you really dig, you should be, I mean, there's no question, this is all biology. In the intestinal area, I would think. I've studied enough biology to know that this is not just a runoff of dirt and debris and, this is nothing. This is the guts of something. So I'm now feeling very confident that this is the guts of our giant snake in Antarctica. As far as I'm concerned, this pretty much seals the deal. His neck comes down. They have a very long neck, these guys. And up in here, he's got some chemistry going on. I don't know what he's got, but it's chemistry. There's no question about that. And it's severe chemistry. Now, was he a dragon spitter? Something like that? This stuff is maybe it's just tonsils. I don't know. But I can tell you, this whole area running all up through here, this is biology. Let it settle in for a minute so you can see. This, and these lakes, and these colors indicate something. This is pretty toxic right here. To me, I would say that's something going on there. Why those colors are showing up. And they usually are secretions from some kind of a layer or an organ, and they secrete into the juices that are passing into here, whatever fluids they are, and they're doing some kind of chemistry, and it's coming out changed in color. That's how you know you got chemistry going on. You see this? That's all biology and chemistry. That's what, when you see all those different colored lakes, that's what you got. And when you see patterns like this, that is biology, my friends. That's not just tectonic plate, this and that. And they got so many different ways of accounting for this that don't make any sense whatsoever. But when I show you the things I show you, they're the things that make sense. But very hard for a PhD or somebody that's been trained their whole life to believe something that just isn't true. It just isn't true. And it's so spectacularly not true that they just cannot even bring themselves to look at this stuff, which is a tragedy for everybody, for the students especially. So anyway, this is his neck coming right up here, and that's guts. That's some serious guts. I gotta go digging into those guts. All the way up. Look at this. It's got to poop somewhere. Could be over here. I would say some kind of serious digestion is going on down there. It's fascinating to look at this stuff. It takes time, but, you know, well, here it goes, it's starting to sink in now. You see how green this is around these, I don't know what they are, but they're mountains. Let's call them mountains. But the green is coming off of there because of it's biology. It's some kind of like poop. It could run off over here. I don't know where it goes. But I'm going to go with it. That is the snake. And here he ends up coming here. So that's where his head's kind of big for this neck, but I don't know, the neck might come over much further. Oh yeah, it could come over here. I don't see it, but it could. And this actually could be part of it as well. Yeah, that would make more sense. All right, here we are up here at, say, 1,000 meters below surface. Over here is, well, not much more, 1185, so, and over here it's only 120 below. I don't know. That's a mystery so far, but I'm going to go with it running up here. And these are guts of something, so it's got to be this guy, to my mind. And this abrupt transition here would indicate to me that's the side of his body. So that's how I'm going to leave that one.